Are you going to just sit there?
As compared to what? Standing?
Not standing, rowing.
Rowing? Hadn't planned on it.
So you expect me to shoulder the
this?
burden?
No, but I do expect you to do all the rowing.
And why is that?
Coming here was your idea.
My idea?
I've made it very clear that I don't believe in the exercise.
The rowing?
No. Imagine that's wonderful exercise.
Then what?
The entire thought experiment.
Excuse me. How much longer?
One goes into an experiment knowing one could fail.
But one does not undertake an experiment knowing one has failed.
Can we get back to the rowing?
I suggest you do, but we're never going to get there.
No, I mean I'd greatly appreciate it if you would assist.
Perhaps you should ask him. I imagine he has a greater interest in getting there than I do.
I suppose he does. There's no point in asking.
Why not?
Because he doesn't row.
He doesn't row?
No, he doesn't row.
Ah, I see what you mean. We've arrived.
Hi everyone, Jarrod here. Today we're going to be taking a look at BioShock Infinite. I know, the review's late, but hey, what can you do? Just want to start off by mentioning that I played through the PC version on max settings and it took about 9 hours or so to complete. Now, before we begin, just want to have a little disclaimer here. I thought the original BioShock was one of the very best video games I have ever played. It got into my brain and wouldn't let me go. I finished the game, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 times. I love everything about it. I just adore it. I think Rapture is one of the coolest places that any game creator has ever created. So with that said, overall with BioShock Infinite, I wasn't as impressed. I didn't find it as groundbreaking as a game. That said, I did think its story is probably one of the best, if not the best storyline I've played through in a video game this entire generation, just because it is so damn groundbreaking. I'm not going to go into any details, but what I will say is that you play as Booker DeWitt. You're a private eye who's sent in to find some girl to Colombia, and it's basically to do away a past debt. You're basically paying off a past debt. And why I find the story so groundbreaking is because what it deals with. It deals with race, it deals with religion, and it's not afraid to make you ask those tough questions. And that's all I'm going to say about it. But when you're done, if you don't really think of yourself slightly differently or the way this world is perceived, I'll be really surprised, because it's so groundbreaking, really. I mean, most game developers would have shied away from any of these topics, but Irrational Games, they just went straight on in. They were like, you know what? Religion shouldn't be an off topic. Let's challenge everything. And they do, and it comes off spectacularly well. Other things I really enjoyed. Love the fact that exploration is encouraged and rewarded. And, you know, Colombia is a breathtaking place to visit. It really is. So you're going to want to explore every nook and cranny. And by doing so, you're going to eventually locate ammo, money, things like that. It's also a great way to further further enhance the lore of Colombia. You're going to find a lot of voxophones, which are basically special audio recordings lying around everywhere. If you've played BioShock, this is all going to sound familiar. And anyways, by looking for these different items, you're going to appreciate Colombia so much more than if you just go from point A to point B. But of course, the choice is ultimately up to you. Graphically, BioShock Infinite is one of the most visually stunning games of the generation, as you can tell just from the video footage you're seeing here. It's just awesome. I love the fact that it's always moving. There's always stuff happening, and I love how the inhabitants always have something to do or something to say. It's just, I don't know, it comes together superbly well. Audio is another area that truly shines. The voice actors and actresses did such a good job. The music's spectacular, and just overall, it's wonderfully done. At its core, it's of course a first-person shooter. It features a nice arsenal of weapons, but of course it's the Vigors, which work like plasmids, basically giving you special like force-like powers. Things like where you can control an enemy turret or other mechanical objects, to more like traditional things like throwing lightning and fire attacks from your hand, things like that. It's all standard fare if you're a fan of BioShock, and it comes together great. It really does. It comes together greatly. One big difference here, though, is Columbia isn't like Rapture. It's not like secluded or like confined. It's much more open, so battles allow for a much greater freedom of movement. This also allows for strategic environmental thinking, which wasn't available in the original BioShock. What I mean by this is you can now look to the sky, see a skyline, which acts sort of like a railing system, and plan your attacks accordingly. So like you can jump in, take down 2 guys, use the skyline to wrap around and get to another area really, really quickly before you're really spotted. Keep in mind, though, that enemies are going to try and do the exact same thing to you. I also really love the artificial intelligence. One of my biggest fears was that Elizabeth was going to be sort of like a moron because she was controlled by the AI, but nothing could be further from the truth. She runs into cover. She'll try and aid you by throwing you money and weapons whenever you're running low, things like that. It's just really, really well done. Weapons are also upgraded through the use of money, and this allows for more strategy, and again, links back into the exploration, because the more you explore, the more money you get, the stronger you can make your weapons. Obviously, you're going to have to make a choice of which weapons you want to upgrade and which ones you're going to have to like lay by the wayside there. And I really enjoy that. It really mixes things up and makes you think before you just, you know, walk on into a gunfight, because you need to make sure you have the right the right guns upgraded for the upcoming battles. Also like that Elizabeth can use tiers, which basically works like a little portal. You can open up these things and drag different areas, objects from different areas to you. So this is very useful because of combat. You might be able to, say, pull in a turret or pull in cover, something like that. About the only negative thing, and even this is not really a negative, it's just the sort of thing, is the fact that the very last combat sequence is a little long tooth for its own good. And what I mean by that is, I found it lasted a little too long, and they force you to use almost every single weapon in the game in order to get to the very, very final ending. And I don't know, it just didn't come off as epic as it probably sounded on paper, because you're going to try and want to use your best weapons you have available that you've maxed out, but you're going to be forced to use things that you didn't max out, and they feel significantly weaker as a result. But that's it. That's the only thing that I found that was a little bit lacking. Everything else was absolutely superb. For the full written review and that magic score, hit up projectcoe.com. As always, thanks for watching, and be back soon with another video.
I didn't ask for this. I have no core.